So we just got done waxing the hood, so I'm covering it. Keep in mind, Plasti Dip overspray is pretty easy to get off. If you haven't polished your car down or waxed your car and you're planning on doing that, you could just tape it up, but make sure you do get your lights covered because that could be a pain in the butt to get off. It does rub off, don't get me wrong, but if you've cleaned them and protected them, there's no point in doing that. And then I want to kind of show you on an emblem like this, what we did was we left, basically took our masking tape and masked around it, leaving about an inch gap. Did not touch any of the inners here. And the reason why is you just want to have that and then go real heavy right in that area. And when you start peeling up your tape, it's going to come up and it's going to be cut along these. Now sometimes I've had to take like a razor blade and kind of cut along here where it's pulling up, but as long as you have a gap and you pull it up nice and slow, you shouldn't have any issues. Unfortunately, if you pull some of these off, you're probably going to have to start back over, but those are pretty simple. Tail lights, I'll go over a tutorial on that. These ones came out really good. They look black now, but I hit that tail lights or even turn on the regular running lights and you can completely see those. And you can see here we got this stripping here, and that came out really nice too. And so the next thing I want to talk about, and this is consistent across the board with Plasti dipping, is pre-soak in hot water. And that might not even make sense until you understand that this stuff's pretty thick stuff. You want to get a nice thin coat on there, what we call a wet coat. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that on this front grille. And this is another thing is glossifier or satinizer. We're going to use the glossifier on all the emblems, front grille, and the molding pieces because the cars are very shiny car. It's got great paint, so we kind of want to have that going along with it. Where on the rims we use a satinizer. The rims were not perfect. They had some scratches and so forth, and so we wanted to kind of not have those stand out, so we went with the satinizer instead of the glossifier, because the glossifier will give you like a semi-gloss look. And the third thing I want to go over is cleaning down each thing. I like to use a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and the reason why is rubbing alcohol will dissolve. And I first clean down the car, soap, water, removing any of the oils on there, and then I wipe it down with alcohol just to get any dust that might have settled on there. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to wipe down everything. Just wanted to show you, this is very cheap. I picked this up for 88 cents from Walmart, and it's a very big drop cloth. You don't need anything super heavy because this is just to cover it so you don't have to do any extra work. And then I literally used plastic bags over the lights. This blue tape, pretty expensive, but trust me, it's worth it. I did a last job, I used just regular masking tape, and I got some of the glue from the masking tape that I had to go back with Goo Gone and get off, and also it wasn't as easy to take off and back on while taping, so definitely recommend the blue if you got it. I had run out, so I went and just used regular, went back and got some blue masking tape. So it's going to make our job much easier. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to come back, just like any of the videos I've done in the past. You want to start with a real light passing of your black Plasti Dip, and then every coat following that is going to be a heavy wet coat. And the reasoning behind that is because the first coat, I like to call it like if you were to sand something before painting it, it leaves a rough surface and allows that Plasti Dip to stick. So we're going to go ahead and show you that after we get these pieces cleaned up with the alcohol. Okay, we're back now. I can't stress this enough that when you clean anything down, the reason why I use alcohol, it dissolves very fast. You don't want to have any water or anything standing on there because the Plasti Dip will not stick. It'll bubble up and your whole job will have to be peeled and redone. So I say just give it 5 minutes. Wipe it down with alcohol just to be safe. Give it 5 minutes or so to kind of dry. In the meantime, have your Plasti Dip soaking in the hot water. This is a can that we've used before, so I want to make sure that I shake it up really well, and that off to the side, I'm going to just spray out my first few sprays, and that is going to make sure that our nozzle is nice and clear. It's good to soak the nozzles too, in a paint thinner in between using if you're going to reuse them. We had done that already, so we're going to go ahead and just use this. I'm going to show you what this first coat looks like. This is literally just to get the Plasti Dip to stick on every other coat that we're going to do here. So we're going to go ahead and start by spraying this, and you can see here I'm just focusing on hitting the front edges, not really focusing on getting into the grill here, because I'm just trying to get a light coat on here. And in between sprays you can shake it up, this way the Plasti dip is going to stay nice and smooth. It's going to come out nice. It's not going to spurt out, it's going to come out nice and smooth. So that's it. That's literally our first base coat. I'm going to let that dry about 5-10 minutes. It does dry pretty quick. And then I'm going to come back and show you what a wet coat looks like and how you do that. Alright guys, we're back. One of the things I did forget to mention, I kind of jumped the gun on, is try to wear some protective gloves. So I've got gloves on both hands. That's just going to keep you from getting anything on your skin. And also it just, keeps the workflow going nice, so you're not having to stop and wash your hands in between. Also a mask. Unfortunately, my mask got stepped on, crushed, so I'm going to do this quickly, but I definitely recommend this stuff is bad to breathe in. I'm going to try to keep airflow going, as well as doing this very quickly and then going inside and letting it rest. So definitely wear a mask, wear gloves. So in between this, I had the Plasti dip sitting in the hot water. And now I'm going to give it a good shake. I'm also going to spray it off to the side to clear that nozzle so we don't get any spurts. And now I'm going to show you how to get this wet coat on. So we're going to just start, and we're going to just go real heavy. And I'm also now going to try to get into some of those areas that we didn't get. So I'm kind of aiming down on this top part here and getting into that little chrome ledge. And same thing over here. I'm going to try to kind of get that angle. Alright. And now we're going to hit these fronts while I'm trying to get into each one of these little crevices here to hit that. So this is what a wet coat looks like. It should be real shiny, but you got to keep the can moving. And you're basically holding the nozzle down, going across, stopping, going across, stopping. Also, you want to make sure you're getting down below here. And the reasoning why on that is you want to make sure you're building up a thick layer. This is going to be peeled off, so you want to build up a thick layer along there, so it makes it really easy to peel off later. So now we just want to hit this. And since I don't have a mask, I'm going to step away here, breathe off to the side. Recommend that if, like, for some reason you don't have a mask, but I definitely recommend wearing a mask, because like I said, this stuff is toxic. You don't want to be breathing it in. And come along here. We're just going to hit each one of these little front pieces here, and also getting inside each little kind of propeller thing that's sticking out. And let's get on this side here and just get along our edge there. And that should do it. You definitely don't want to go too thick. You want to keep the can moving, and that's going to keep you from getting overspray. And if I come in close here, you'll see it came out really nice. It looks really wet. And we're going to do 3 to 4 more coats just like that, allowing, I would say, about 10 minutes to dry, because you want it to be slightly tacky. But this stuff dries pretty quick, so each coat's going to stick. And then we're going to do the same thing with this glossifier. We're going to start with a real thin coat. Keep in mind, glossifier is a thinner material than your Plasti dip. So you do want to go lighter than you would. But we're going to follow it up with only 2 wet coats on the glossifier. That's going to protect it from UV. So if you ever see somebody with a Plasti dip car out there and it just looks dried out, that's because they didn't add any glossifier, satinizer, or any type of top coat. Something I've always done on everything I've done, and I've had my stuff last, I've had a year and a half out of my last vehicle, and the stuff was looking great. I had a Jeep Cherokee that we Plasti dipped. Somebody forgot to put the glossifier on prior, and I went ahead and redid it, and it came out gorgeous. So that is it. Just follow it up. I'm not even going to waste my time showing you guys a glossifier. I want these to be quicker videos. You can see how to do the regular coat. Just follow that up with the glossifier. And then to take this off, you're just going to peel the tape off. I let it dry about an hour to 2 hours before I do that, so that I can really get the parts down here that I allowed to be hit. because those will peel up real nicely if they're dry. Alright guys, if you have any questions, comments, I'm going to try to put some links to other videos that explain other things in detail. Please comment. I'll try to shoot answers on over. Thank you guys very much.